Navigating the Excel environment. Okay, if this is your first time opening Excel, you need to watch my video how to understanding Excel user interface. Okay, once you understand the Excel user interface, the next thing you need to do is to navigate your way in the Excel environment, how to move around in the Excel environment. That is what this video is all about. Okay, now back to my office supply data. Let's say you want to go to the end of this document spreadsheet. You use the vertical scroll bar, you scroll this down arrow, it takes you to the end of the spreadsheet. Okay, if I use the up arrow, the up vertical arrow, it takes you to the beginning of this spreadsheet. Likewise, you have the horizontal scroll bar. If you go like this, it takes you to the other columns that are hidden. I did mean I have data that spans up to column O, P, and the rest. So to take you back to column A, you click on this arrow here, it takes you back to column A. So you can actually do this with the keyboard, the arrow key in your keyboard. If you click on down, it takes you one step at a time. If you click on up, this up arrow now, it takes you up. If I click on my right or left, it takes me to, if I click on my right, it goes back. Okay, so this is for it. Then if I want to go an entire page up and an entire page down, what I need to do is to click page down. It takes me to column the row 11. If I click on page up, I'm saying I have row 1 to row 11. Are you understanding? I have row 1 to row 11. So if you want to make a bigger movement, not just a one step movement by using the arrow or the vertical and horizontal scroll, but I want to make bigger movement in my worksheet, I'll use page down. If I go page down, it takes me back to column 11 where we stopped. Okay, if I click page up, it takes me back. So it goes one page up and one page down. So for bigger movement, you use page up, page down. For smaller movement, you use the vertical scroll bar, horizontal scroll bar, or the keyboard arrows in your keyboard. Okay, now let's go to select. If I want to select, let's say column B. So once I want to select column B, I can actually click on B on the heading B. All the column B's is being selected. Okay, so apart from that, if I want to select column row 2, I'll just go to 2, click on 2. All the row 2, sorry, is being selected. Okay, now if I want to select a particular value in a cell, let's say if I want to select 99.5, I'll put my cursor in, so let's say this is my active cell. Let me select this as my active cell. What I need to do, I'll put my cursor at the middle of this cell. So where you put your cursor matters a lot, because sometimes you'll be so confused, you won't know where you put your cursor. You expect a different result and you put your cursor in a different place. So if I put my cursor here, what I'm telling the Excel sheet is that I want to copy. Do you understand? It means I want to select. Sorry, I want to select. So if I click on it, it means select. So what this shows you is that this comes out as a bold, like a plus sign that it has a bold plus sign that is transparent. So this is just to select. If I want to select G8, I'll just click on it in the middle and it will select. Just click on it. If I want to select F2, I'll click on it in the middle. Okay, now let's say I want to move a value from one cell to a particular cell. I want to move a value from one cell to a particular cell. I want to change the location of this value in F2 to, like, I'll put it in I2. I want to move it. What I need to do, I'll pull my arrow to the border. Once you pull your arrow to the border, it changes. It's no longer a transparent bold plus now. It's a tiny plus sign that has an arrow on its four tips. Okay, so if you click it to the middle, it shows you a plus sign, that is transparent and bold. But if you click to the borderline, it shows you a tiny plus sign that has arrow on this tip. This is for moving. So if I click on it, I'll move Okay, if I click on it, I'll move the value from F2 to H2, sorry, to H4. So if I want to move it again, I'll click on it, move down, then click on it and move it. So once the arrow appear, let me take it back to its original position, which is F2. Once the arrow appear, this four tip arrow appear, I'll click down, hold it, drag it back to the original position. So this arrow is for selecting, while this is for moving a value from one point to another point. Then there's a third arrow you need to know about. This arrow, this is like a thick blow thick dark arrow. Okay, this is for copying. Okay, let me take example of this. As you can see, this already has a formula. Like I said before when I was explaining formula bar, this is a multiplication between the unit and the unit cost. Okay, so this is F2 times E2 times F2. So if you want to copy the formula down, what I need to do, I will take it to this place that has a tiny square. The arrow changes, so if I drag it down, it copies the formula. As you can see, we're having the same value here. If I click on this, F3, E3, F3, E4, F4, what it does is that it copies the formula. Okay, so where you put your cursor in a cell matters a lot. You may be needing to copy the formula, but it will select or move the value, so we have to be really careful. Okay, let me undo it right now. You have to be really careful. Well, here you put your cursor in the Excel. Now let's say you want to select an entire spreadsheet. I want to select an entire spreadsheet. How do you do it? It's very easy. The easiest way or the shortcut way is to do Ctrl plus A. You press down on Ctrl and you click A. That means select all. You selected all your spreadsheet. You can also just click on this. This is an intersection between columns and row. If you click on this, the entire spreadsheet is being selected. Okay, and also the third method to do it is just for you to hold down on A1 and drag it to the last value. This is actually a tedious method. I won't advise you to use it. So it's either you so this is a tedious method. I won't advise you to use it at all. So the easiest way is Control A, or just click at this point here. Here you have an intersection between row and column heading, and it will be selected. Easy peasy. Okay, this is to select an entire column. What if you want to select a particular section in a cell, like just a section? What you need to do, a longer a longer pattern is to just select. That's I want to select from A1 to G6. You just click on A1, click down and drag it to G6. Or the shortcut is, once you click on A1, you press down on your shift button and go to G6 and click on it. This is very easy. That is for items in the spreadsheet that are together. That is the contiguous data. Let's say you have items that are not together that you want to select. They are different. Like I want to select column A and I want to select column E, and I cannot use shift for it, and I cannot drag it along and click down and drag it along. What do you need to do? You click on A, press down on the control button and click on E. So these have selected column A and column E. These are non-contiguous data. They are separated by other data in between. They're not together. If they're together, you can just click and drag or use a shift. But if they're not together, control got your back. Okay, now let's start. Let's say I want to split my this thing, my spreadsheet. I want to split it. I want to split it into two, so that I can compare data from the top and data from the bottom. What do I need to do? I'll go to view. Once I go to view, I have a split option. But before you click this split, you click on where you want the split to occur. So let's say I want to split column row 10. I'll click on the 10, click on split. So this actually has splitted column 10. So each of the splitted area has their individual arrows, if you're not mistaken. So if I click here, it split it into 4 different places. it splits the row and it splits back at column 10. So if I want to compare data in column row 20, I'll scroll to row 20 and compare it with data in row 1. But if I'm to scroll up and down, I might not have like eye to eye view on the data I'm comparing. But if I split it, I can scroll it and check, okay, you have 15 units in row 20 where you have 95 units in row 1. Okay, so the same thing happens. You can actually scroll the first one, okay, and compare other data. Same thing with the horizontal part, you can compare it too. So if I want to undo what I did, you just click back on split and everything comes back to normal. Okay, but split is actually for when you're working with a very large data that you will need to compare, and you don't want to be scrolling up and down. You can split it and compare what you want to the values you want to compare. It makes it easy. Now for freeze pane, what does freeze pane do? Freeze pane actually, for example, if you want to scroll up and down, like you want to scroll to column 20 and you want to still be seeing the heading here, what you need to do is to freeze the heading. How do you do it? What you need to do is to click on freeze pane. What to do is to freeze the first row, top row. So once you freeze the top row, if you're scrolling down, your heading remains. As you can see, the first row remains. So whatever, even if you scroll to column 200, you still be seeing your heading. You won't be confused. Oh, what is this for? Is it total or is it unit cost? Okay, now you can also freeze the first column depending on what you want to achieve. Let me say I want to freeze the order date. So you can freeze the column. So once you come here, you can say, okay, at this date you ordered only 1.99 unit cost. So it depends on what you want to compare right now. So each of these things depends on what you want to use it to compare. Okay, now also you can, let me unfreeze. Okay, also you can freeze column and row at the same time. Let me say I want to freeze the first 3 rows and the first 3 columns. What I need to do is I will click here, which is D4. Why D4? You have to click on a cell that is directly to the right of the third column and directly under the third row. Directly to the right of the third column, which is C, and directly under the third row, which is 4. That is how D4 came about. So if I click on it, I'll click on freeze plane. I won't choose these 2 options now. I'll just go freeze plane. Okay, so what this does is ABC, column ABC, and this part, let me underline, let me highlight it. This part is constant. Column ABC and row 1 to 3, the values there are constant, while others move. Okay, there are some Excel work that you need to freeze some section of it. So this actually works. Please don't confuse it with splitting. Once you're splitting, if you scroll up and down, there is no constant value. It goes, like for example, this is making this section constant, but if I use split on it and I scroll up, this place that is static or constant will move. So split is just mostly is to compare values, up values from down values. If you have so many values like up to 100 rows and you want to compare the 100th row with like the 5th row, you can just split your Excel sheet and compare the values. So that's what split is for. But freeze plane, for my knowledge, is for reference sake. You want to reference this with other values, you just keep the ones you want to reference it with constant, and then you scroll your way. So this is split and this is freeze plane. I don't want you to confuse it, and I hope it's not I've not confused you in any way. Okay, let's unfreeze. Now the next thing is switching worksheets. We are still in the view home tab. If you open multiple worksheets that you're working with, multiple workbooks, sorry, workbook, not worksheet, that you're working with, let me recap. Worksheets, so many worksheets make up a workbook. Like this is a worksheet 1, worksheet 2. My worksheet 2 is empty. This is worksheet 1. So worksheet 1 and 2 here make up workbook, which is office supply. So if I have so many workbook and that I'm working with and I want to split and switch from one workbook to another, what you need to do is to go to your view home tab. You will see switch windows. This gives you the list of workbooks that are currently open or that you're currently working on. Okay, as you can see, I'm in office supply. If you want to go to sales data, you just click on sales data. It brings me to an entirely different workbook that I opened recently. Okay, if you want to go back to your original worksheet or working on office data, I'll go back to office data. This is to switch workbook. Okay, then deleting in a cell. This is another tricky one. Deleting in a cell. Okay, if you want to delete in a cell, it's very tricky, and if you don't know what you're doing, you may end up making a grave mistake. Okay, so let's say if I type this data 43.75 randomly, if I've not pressed enter, that means the value have not been registered in that cell. You can just click escape or backspace and it will go. Okay, escape backspace can do it, but what if I've clicked enter, storing the value in the cell? You can delete it easily. Okay, you can delete it easily. How do you delete it easily? Click on the delete button on the screen. That is the first option. You can actually click on the delete button on the screen and it deletes itself. Okay, that is quite easy. Or you right click and you select delete option. So shift cell left, shift cell right. Okay, this is entirely different. Okay, so to delete, just click on the delete button on the Excel sheet. Now if, okay, let me use another. If I go to F2 and I want to delete this F2 as a whole, what I need to do is I go to home tab and I have a delete option. So this delete I did when I click on the delete button is totally different from going to a home tab to click on delete. If you go to a home tab and click on delete, it deletes the cell automatically. So you don't have the value for F2, that particular value for F2 has been removed, and the value for F3 takes the value of F2. I don't know if you understand. If you understand, now you've seen in F20 there's no value, showing that there's upward displacement of values. So let me redo and the value comes back. Okay, that means this cell is being deleted if you click on delete like this. Yeah, so let me undo. Yeah, so this also have the same effect if you right click and click on delete like I did earlier. So you have so many options here. So you can shift cell up like what I did from the home tab. That's shift cell up. I can delete the entire row, that's deleting row 2 entirely, or I can delete row F entirely. So everything, all these things depends on what you selected. So if you want to delete the whole row 2, I'll just click on delete entire row and okay, and the whole row 2 is gone and another value has replaced row 2. Okay, so that will be all for now in deleting in a cell. So see you next time, guys.